thanks for being here today. We're going to be making snow globes. This is just a great craft for kids to do and also just for decorations around the house. So just to start off with what supplies that we're going to need, we're going to need some baby oil, any kind of toy with a flat bottom. You're going to need a clean glass jar, glitter, and also super glue. Just some tips for the supplies. You can use for jars, you can just use old jars that you have in the fridge, so just pickle jars, mayo jars, salsa jars. As you can see, I just used a Tostitos salsa jar, so that'll work fine. And also, if you don't want to use glitter, or you don't want to go out to the store and buy glitter, you can just cut up little pieces of foil. It looks just as good, especially if this craft is for the kids. If you don't have super glue, you can just use any kind of hot glue gun, will work just fine. And also, if you don't want to go out and buy baby oil, you can just use water. The only reason we use this is just so that the glitter will just stay afloat longer. Alright, so just to get started, the first step is just to have a clean jar. Make sure you clean it out with soap and water just so it doesn't smell like salsa or anything. Once that's done, the second step is just going to be to glue your toy figure. Just apply glue to the bottom of your toy and apply pressure for about a minute just so you make sure it's secure. Once you know that that's on there tightly, you're going to start by just pouring this into the jar, almost to the top, but not completely to the top, because once you put your toy in, you want to make sure that it's not going to overflow at all. So once we have this done, alright, so the next step is going to be to add as much or as little glitter as you want. I prefer to put a lot because I think it looks prettier. So I'm going to add some green. And a little bit of gold. Alrighty, so once you have all that glitter in there, we are almost ready to put our cap on. So just to make sure that our cap's going to stay on tight, I recommend just putting super glue around the rim of it, just so it doesn't leak at all. Okay, now it's time just to screw in your jar and make sure it's not going to overflow when you put it in. So just make sure you twist it on really tightly. Alright, so now you just have to flip it over, shake it around, and watch your masterpiece in action. Okay, so as you can see, this is just like an easy craft to do. It's really quick. Some optional step, if you want to, is to add some kind of decorations on the outside. I recommend using glitter glue, and I just recommend doing it either on like the top or bottom, but just leave the inside so that you can see your toy. So that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. Do you have any suggestions if the baby oil leaks through the jar, even after you've super glued the lid shut?
Yeah, I'd actually recommend using duct tape. If you just cut the duct tape in half, it's not bulky around the edges, so with duct tape and super glue, it's not going to leak at all. So, anything else?
What do you suggest doing if you take off the label for the jar and there's still excess glue and paper left on the jar?
So what you can do for that is I just use soap and water and a sponge. I recommend just using the hard side of the sponge, and it should come off just really easily.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that this craft, is this a craft that you can leave the kid unsupervised with?
I would say anyone from 10 and up is definitely okay. I wouldn't recommend younger than that, just for the fact that we have to use super glue and glue guns. I wouldn't want any kids burning themselves or gluing their fingers together or anything like that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay, well thanks guys for being here today. Appreciate it. That's how you make a snow globe.